This is KBS1 News. Broadcasting local and international news in English from Mali.
KBS1 TV Daily News. We are broadcasting live from Bamako, capital of Mali. The government of the Republic of Niger has decided to terminate its military cooperation agreement with the United States of America with immediate effect. This comes just days after the visit of a high-level delegation from the U.S. administration. The full statement read out here by the spokesperson of the Conseil National pour la Sauvegarde de la Patrie, CNSP, Colonel Major Amadou Abdrahman. The government of the Republic of Niger wishes to inform national and international community that on March 12, 13 and 14, 2024, its representatives, under the authority of His Excellency Mr. Ali Mohamed Lamine Zain, Prime Minister of Niger, held a series of working meetings with an American delegation composed of Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Chief of Mission Mrs. Molithi, Dr. Celeste Walanda, Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security Affairs, General Michael Langley, Commander-in-Chief of AFRICOM, and Kathleen Fitzgibbon, U.S. Ambassador to Niger. The arrival of the American delegation was not in keeping with diplomatic practice. In fact, the American government unilaterally informed the Nigerian government of the date of arrival and composition of its delegation, as well as the Nigerian authorities to be met, by means of verbal notes, without specifying the purpose of a visit. It was therefore out of courtesy and in keeping with our age-old tradition of welcome and hospitality that the government received the American delegation. Discussions between the two delegations focus on the following topics: the military transition underway in Niger, cooperations between the two countries, in particular military cooperations, and the fight against terrorism, Niger's political orientation and prospects in terms of the choice of partners, military diplomacy and strategies. It is understood that in the American approach, all these three questions are deeply linked. With regard to the current transition and the earliest possible return to a constitutional and democratic order, the government of Niger has reaffirmed its firm commitment to organizing a return to normal constitutional life as soon as possible. The President of the CNSP, Head of State, expressed this commitment in his address to the nation on August 19, 2023. On the choice of diplomatic and strategic partners for the military, the government of Niger regrets the American delegation's desire to deny the sovereign people of Niger the right to choose their partners and the types of partnership that will help them to fight terrorism, even though the United States of America has unilaterally decided to suspend all cooperations between our two countries. The government of Niger strongly denounces the condescending attitude of the head of American delegation towards the government and the people of Niger, accompanied by the threat of reprisals.
Assorti de la menace de représailles de la part de la chef de la délégation américaine vis-à-vis du gouvernement et du peuple nigérien.
This attitude is likely to undermine the quality of our age-old relations and the trust between our two governments, already damaged by the events of October 19, 2023. With regard to the specific cases of the Russian Federation and the Islamic Republic of Iran, two countries with which Niger has maintained diplomatic relations for several decades, and which are of particular interest to the United States of America. The government wishes to inform the people of Niger and all the peoples of the international community that it has never signed any secret agreements with these partner countries. All the agreements signed by Niger since the advent of CNSP respect international law and the rules of transparency. This is why the government of Niger rejects the false allegations made by the head of the US delegation to the effect that it has signed a secret uranium agreement with the Islamic Republic of Iran. This cynical approach, usually used to discredit, demonize, and justify their threats against other states, is reminiscent of the Second Iraq War. Indeed, the people of Niger and the entire international community still remember the false evidence brandished by the US Secretary of State before the Security Council to justify the American aggression against Iraq, in which President Tanger's government was falsely accused of having supplied uranium to the Baghdad authorities, even though it is common knowledge that the exploitation of the uranium in Niger is totally controlled by France. For the Russian Federation, this is a partner with which Niger has a very close state-to-state relationship, in accordance with the military cooperation agreements signed with previous governments. In order to acquire the military equipment it needs to combat the terrorism that has claimed thousands of innocent Nigerian victims under the indifferent eye of much of the international community. Finally, Niger reaffirms its solemn commitment to cooperating transparently and respecting its sovereignty with all peace and justice-loving countries and peoples in accordance with the rules of international law. With regard to cooperation between the two countries, in particular military cooperation and the fight against terrorists, it should be recalled that the American presence on the territory of the Republic of Niger is illegal and violates all constitutional and democratic rules requiring that the sovereign people, in particular through their representatives, be consulted about the installation of a foreign army on national territory. Thus, it was by simple verbal note number 174 of July 6, 2012 that the American side unilaterally imposed on Niger an agreement relating to the status of U.S. military personnel and civilian employees of the U.S. Department of Defense on the territory of the Republic of Niger. This agreement is not only profoundly unfair in its substance, it also fails to meet the aspirations and interests of the people of Niger for the following reasons. Firstly, it obliged Niger to pay invoices linked to taxes on American military aircraft, which the latter should pay and which cost billions of CFA francs to Nigerian taxpayers. Secondly, the competent Nigerian authorities has no information on military activities carried out from American bases in Niger and are unaware of the number of civilians and military personnel and American equipment deployed on Nigerian soil. Finally, the U.S. military has no obligation under the agreement to accede to Niger's request for support against terrorist group, murdering our valiant defense and security forces and massacring our hard-working populations. Since July 26, 2023, with the advent of the CNSP, the American government has unilaterally and abruptly decided to suspend its military cooperation in violation of the agreement imposed on the peoples of Niger, citing Article 7008 of the Consolidated Appropriation Act, without following through on its logic of withdrawing its military from the Niger territory. Moreover, in recent weeks, the Nigerian government has noted illegal overflights of its territory by American aircraft, raising questions about the sincerity of their partnership and the relevance of maintaining the military cooperation agreement imposed by verbal notes. In view of the foregoing, the government of Niger, taking into account the aspirations and interests of its people, resolves in all responsibility to denounce with immediate effect the agreement relating to the status of the U.S. military personnel and civilian employees of the U.S. Department of Defense on the territory of the Republic of Niger. Diplomatic correspondence will be sent to the American party to this effect.